Hey guys, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing my May wrap up. So for the month of May, I read a total of 11 books, which I'm really proud of myself for. I believe 9 of them or 8 of them. 8 of them were physical reads and then 3 of them were Kindle books, I believe. I want to say. Yes, 3 of them were Kindle books. So I read a total of 11 this month, which I'm really proud of myself for. We're going to go through this quickly because I am pre-filming today. So I've got to get a lot of videos done today in a short amount of time. But the first book I read this month was Bound by Vengeance, which is book 5 in the Born in Blood Mafia Chronicles by Cora Riley. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. This I started and finished on May 3rd. This is about I don't remember, Grimm, I believe, and Kara, I think is her name. Kara, and then you find out later that Grimm's real name is Ryan. So this is Kara and Ryan is a enforcer for the Las Vegas side of the mafia, and Kara is a child of one of the mafia people. So basically Kara's dad does something really bad, and in retribution Kara is given to Ryan, and Ryan has always been somewhat of a recluse. He he has to kill people. I mean, that's his job. So overall, it was a really good book. It wasn't too over the top as far as like the sex scenes are concerned. There was a few of them that were spicier than others. And I want to say that Ryan was very careful with Kara. Like he was forceful at times, but he was very, caring about how, if she was hurt or not. So, I thought that was really sweet. The second book I read this month was A Touch of Ruin by Scarlett St. Clair. This is book 2 in the Hades x Persephone series. I gave this 4 stars as well. I think y'all kind of know my feelings on this series. I am not a fan of Persephone. Her just side of it, I'm just not a big fan of. But I am finishing the series this month in June. So we'll see if I still feel that way about her or not. But to be honest, I'm kind of glad that this series, or at least what is out, is going to be done, because her voice is just, I could go without it. It's not my favorite. But I started this book on May 2nd and I finished it on May 10th. It did take me a little bit to read it because I really didn't want to read it. I wanted to like just, whatever. So overall, it was an okay book. I am going to continue and finish the series, but I probably won't reread these. But they will live on my shelves, because I have a hard time getting rid of books. But anyway, we're going to move on from this one. Book number 3 that I read this month was Bound by Love, which is book 6 in the Born in Blood Mafia Chronicles. I am almost done with that series. I have 2 left, I believe. Or I think it's 1 that's just like a collection of whatever. So we'll see when I get to finish those. This is Luca and Arya's story, continuation from the first book, and we just kind of go through their story throughout the years. So very cute. Ended up giving it 4 stars as well. And there was one, the reason I didn't give it 5 stars or anything more than 4 stars was because there was a silly little miscommunication, and the way that Luca shut out Arya was just not cute, and I didn't like it very much. So we're just gonna pretend that that didn't happen and, move on. But overall, I gave it 4 stars, and it was an okay book. The next book that I finished, and this is where an obsession started. That is Zodiac Academy, book 1. This is The Awakening. This series is about the Vega twins who suddenly find out that they are Fae royalty and are taken away to this faraway Fey land called Solaria, where we meet these celestial heirs, and the story goes from there. It is a bully romance to a T. There are some very hard scenes to read in this book, so if you have any trigger warnings for assault or bullying or like sexual innuendos from a adult to children or a teacher to like their students, I wouldn't recommend reading this because it does have a little bit of all of that and it's not very good. But this book was okay. I gave it 3.5 stars. I knew that the first book, like a lot of people told me that the first book is really hard to get through and then like the second on is a lot easier. So this book, I liked it. I really did. I started this book on May 8th. I finished it on May 11th. And this has slowly become an obsession to the point that I read 4 of the books this month in May. And I'll be reading book 5 in June. So anyway, we're going to move on from this because obviously I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it again. But yeah, just have in mind that there are some trigger warnings that I feel are very pertinent to those who might have a little bit of an affinity towards, you know, assault and stuff like that. So there's that one. Next book I read took a long time for me to get through, but it was just very beautiful and I wanted to take my time with it. And that is Say It's Forever by A.L. Jackson. This is book 2 in the Redemption Hill series. This is about Salem and Judd. Sorry, this is about Judd and Salem. In Salem, her car broke down in Judd's town, and him being the lovable biker that he is, he stopped and helped her, and they became friends, and then more than friends, and then Salem's past came back to haunt her, and essentially Judd is there to help take care of her and her daughter and all of the other things that go along with Salem. So it was a very beautiful story, a lot of great metaphors. I gave this book 5 stars. I started it on April 29th. I finished it on May 15th. And it was a fantastic read. I highly recommend these, and I cannot wait for Logan's story to come out because I cannot wait. I have a feeling his love interest is going to be Tessa, and I cannot wait for that whole story to come out because it's probably going to be really good. But anyway, highly recommend this series if you haven't read it already. Also, I love the fact that Gage from the first book and Junie in this book are like best friends. They're best little friends. They're both in kindergarten or first grade, and they've just become best friends. And I have a feeling that A.L. Jackson might make a book for them when they get older. And it's just gonna be a good time because I thought they were so cute together, and I would love to see a cute little romance out of that. So anyway, there's this one. And then the next book I read, no surprise, surprise, because, you know, we've been talking about it, and that's book 2 of the Zodiac Academy, which is Ruthless Fae. This is literally just a continuation of the first one. There's nothing really different, except this one we start getting more POVs from the Celestial Heirs. So we have Darius Acrux, who is the house captain for House Ignis, which is fire, the fire element. We have Max Rigel, who is the Celestial Heir for Aqua. And so he is, or for water, and so he is the house captain of House Aqua. Then you have Caleb, I want to say that's not Alistair. Altair. Caleb Altair. He is a vampire, and he is the house captain for House Terra, and he's also the Celestial Heir for Earth. And then you have Seth Capella, who is a werewolf, and he is the Celestial Heir for Air, and he is the house captain of House Air as well. So you start to get a lot of their POVs. You also have a POV of Lance Orion, who is one of the professors at the university. He is only a couple years older than the students, so he's only, I think he's 26 where the students are 18, so there's literally only an 8-year age difference. He is also bound to Darius by a guardian bond, so those two are, you know, bonded, so they have to, you know, cuddle and whatever to make themselves feel better, which I find so adorable, and it's so stinking cute. So this book is really good, and I highly recommend this series, but just keep in mind those trigger warnings like I talked about beforehand. But overall, these are really good. Also, I love that each book has a different zodiac on it. So like the first one, we obviously are talking about Gemini, so the twins. So obviously Gemini is going to be here. This one's quite literally about Darius, and Darius is a Leo. So we see the Leo here. And so overall, really, really good book. I started this on May 11th, finished it on May 15th. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was really, really good. Next up, I just continued on and started reading Zodiac Academy 3, which is The Reckoning. This is just literally continuation of the first two. This one does have the Libra on it, so this one we learned a little bit about Lance Orion and whatnot. This is also where Darcy, who's one of the twins, and Lance, Orion, start to have a little bit of a relationship. So there is a student-teacher relationship in here. They are all legal. So this is like they're in college. So the girls are 18. I don't know why I want to keep saying Darius. I want Darcy. Darcy is 18 and Lance is 26. So they do have a little bit of an age difference. But they're so cute. I like every time I, you know, read about some of their scenes, I'm just like, ugh, so stinking cute. And then a lot of the things that he does for Darcy and whatnot is just a lovely time. So we do learn a little bit more about Lance because he is a Libra, and it is, like I said, these books are a fun time, but again, trigger warnings 100%. And yeah, also let me tell you, Lionel Acrux, who is Darius's daddy, is terrible. He is not the greatest of men. He is not a fun time. I don't like him. We do not stand Lionel Acrux in this house, okay? Anyway, this was really good. I highly recommend, again, like I keep saying. The next book I read was an ebook, and that is Ghost by Joel Abernathy. I think this is the first book in that series. This is a male mafia story, which I haven't read a lot of before because frankly, there's not a lot of them. There's just not something that is out there, you know, in mainstream Kindle Unlimited. So I went ahead and just picked one up. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. This is like a mafia boss's son and the cleaner of, you know, crime. So they do get together. It's cute, but there are some things. I think they went a little too fast on some of the things. Like, you're expected to believe that they just fall in love really quickly. And it's like one of the guys is a self-proclaimed sociopath. And so sociopaths don't have the tendency to feel anything or have feelings. So that was just a little odd for me. But overall, it was a very good story and I didn't mind it. So 4 stars, and I will probably be reading the second one, although I do know it's just about one of the main characters from the first book. It's about his brother, and he's not male, you know, gay. He's a straight male, so they'll have their own story on that. So I started this one on May 19th and I finished it on May 20th. So again, 4 stars. And if I didn't mention it before, for The Reckoning for Zodiac Academy, I started that on May 15th and ended it on May 18th, and I gave it 4.5 stars. So it was a really good book. The next 2 books that I read were a part of a series, and that is Sinner and Saint. This is book, I guess, 3 and book 4 of the Priest collection by Sierra Simone. I ended up giving Sinner, I think I gave Sinner 4 stars, and I gave Saint 3.5. They were okay. They weren't the greatest of books. They just went really fast. I will say that Saint is male. Sinner is age gap and brother's little sister, or best friend's little sister. Not brother's, that's gross. But best friend's little sister. And this is best friend, or brother's best friend. So they're like, anyway. So they're okay. I still think Priest was the best out of all of them. But overall, they weren't terrible books. And then the last book that I read, which I already kind of mentioned, and that is Shadow Princess of Zodiac Academy by Carolyn Peckham and Susan Valenti. This is book 4. I started this on May 18th. I finished it on May 27th. It took me a little bit longer, but I did give it 5 stars. This book was absolutely amazing. However, the ending of this book, I see why people hate Tori in this one, because I literally wanted to strangle her so bad a few times that I'm just like, how are you able to do that? Anyway, this was really good. I highly recommend the series, but again, keep in mind those trigger warnings because they're not very politically correct books, if you know what I mean. So anyway, this really good, 5 stars, like I said. So those are all the books that I read in the month of May. If you have read any of the books, please let me know what you thought about them in the comments below. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all.